Good to see you today on this glorious Lord's Day. Wasn't that rain great this morning? Oh boy, I could just feel the tension for all the farmers in the area. It just kind of dropped a little bit. It's good to have that kind of rain. Good soaking rain this morning, and looks like we might have some more even throughout the day. But we're really blessed here in this part of the country to be able to produce the food that we do, and God has given us that opportunity as here in the Midwest, and it's a great blessing, and we always look forward to good rain, because good things happen when there's rain. And we gathered here to worship today, and so glad that you've come. I do want to also kind of lower the tension because we have some of our teenagers in Romania right now. Good word, they have made it to Romania, and they are settled in. Luggage has made it to Romania as well. And that is good. That's a good thing. I sent out last night a daily prayer guide to kind of walk you through how to pray throughout the week for our teens. Our teens are there with Living Gospel Church up in Napanee. A good group from their church has gone and invited and taken along some of our teenagers from our youth group. And we want to pray for them. If you did not get one of those, but you would like a hard copy of that, raise your hand right now. Nolan's going to come and give you one if you need one. If anybody needs a hard copy of that prayer guide, Nolan's right back there. He'd love to put one in your hand, and just wanted to make it available. Make sure everybody that wanted one had one. Good, we're okay, Nolan. So be praying. Be praying for our teens and the whole mission group that's gone to Romania for the ministries and all that they'll be doing there, and keep them before the Lord in the days ahead. And we look forward to their safe return and good things to happen, not only through them, but in them, because mission trips are always a bit transformative. So we're praying for that as well, that God does a work in the lives of our kids as well as those to whom they'll be ministering. We've gathered to worship today. So glad that you have come. And last week I told you I was doing a little bit of an experiment in preaching, something called narrative preaching. And you seem to respond well to that. I heard a lot of good comments. But today I'm going to do something even a little bit different, still within the boundaries of narrative preaching, but instead of third person, I'm going to try a little first person here toward the end of the sermon as we close out 23 weeks now in Ecclesiastes. And it's been good. It's really been good. I've really enjoyed it. And from our men that have done the post-mortem on the sermons every Thursday night, Guys Growth Group, it's been very, very good discussions. And so we've really enjoyed it. It's been a blessing. And we just look forward to closing it here with very profound words this morning as we hear from God. And so we've gathered to not only hear from God, but also to offer to Him. To offer to Him from our lips in praise, prayer, and then from our lives as we go from this place and carry out the work of the church, which is to edify the church, to evangelize the lost, and in all of that to exalt God, which is why we are here. Let's begin this morning with a word of prayer, and then we'll stand and sing. Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this opportunity that we have to gather here to worship you. And Father, I pray that what we bring to you this morning, what we offer to you, will be pleasing in your sight. Father, that it'll be a blessing to us as we do this. Father, that it will edify us, and we will encourage one another here within the context of this church community. Father, as we seek to love you, to serve you, to fear you, and to obey you, as we'll learn this morning. And Father, I pray these things in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Would you stand and let's sing together?
Wonderful, so wonderful is your unfailing love. Across this earth is as beautiful as you. Open my eyes to your wonders anew. You captured my heart with this love. 'Cause nothing on earth is as beautiful as you. Beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must see. My soul must sing. My soul must sing. My soul must sing. Beautiful one, beautiful one I love, beautiful one I adore, beautiful one my soul must sing. Open my eyes to your wonders anew. You captured my heart with this love. 'Cause nothing on earth is as beautiful as you. You've been walking the same old road for miles and miles. You've been hearing the same old voice tell the same old promise. You're trying to fill the same old holes inside. There's a better life. There's a better life. You got pain. He's a pain taker. Feeling lost. He's a way maker. You need freedom to save it. He's a prison shaking savior. You got chains. He's a chain breaker. We've all searched for the light of day. Get up now. We've all found ourselves worn out from the same old fight. We've all run to things that we know just ain't right. There's a better life. There's a better life. You've got pain. He's a pain taker. Feel lost. He's a way maker. You need freedom to save it. He's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, he's a chain breaker. You believe it. You receive it. You can feel it. Somebody testify. You believe it. You receive it. You can feel it. Somebody testify. You believe it. You receive it. You can feel it. Somebody testify. Got pain. He's a pain taker. Feel lost. He's a way maker. You need freedom. Save it. He's a prison shaking savior. You've got chains. He's a chain breaker. You need freedom. Save it. He's a prison shaking savior. You've got chains. He's a chain breaker. You may be seated.
We're going to be reading from Ecclesiastes 13 and 14. Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil.
In the eye of this storm, you remain in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when my sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of this storm. The ground is falling out from underneath my feet. Between the black skies and my red eyes, I can barely see. When I realize that I've been sold out by my friends and family, I can feel the rain reminding me. In the eye of the storm, you remain in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when my sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm. When my hopes and dreams are far from me and I'm running out of faith, see the future I picture slowly fade away. When the tears of pain and heartache are rolling down my face, I find my peace in Jesus' name. In the eye of the storm, you remain in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when my sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of the storm. Me go, and I just don't know how we're gonna make ends meet. I did my best, now I'm scared to death. That reminder's everything. And when a sickness takes my child away and there's nothing I can do, my only hope is trust in you. Trust you, Lord. In the eye of this storm, in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when my sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of this storm. You remain in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when my sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of this storm.
aging and great theologian Dr. Karl Barth was able to take the trip of a lifetime. His extensive and very enviable travel around the world took him all around the world. He researched and lectured on nearly all the continents. He experienced the great wonders of the world. He preached in the world's greatest cathedrals. He witnessed the sun rise and fall on the world's great oceans. He was able to meditate and reflect and contemplate God and life on the grandeur of some of the world's most majestic mountains. He met and he visited with some of the world's greatest minds. It was the trip of a lifetime, a tribute to his own great contributions to human thought and theology. And upon Dr. Barth's return, he was asked in an interview to state the single most profound thought that he had considered in all of his world travels. And smiling ever so slightly, the great and aged thinker responded this way: Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Those are very simple yet profound words, and we probably learned them very early in life. And profound words, they have several characteristics. First of all, profound words are usually very simple. They're formed of very easily understood words and phrases. They're very simple. And second, they are usually stated very succinctly. They are words that are connected in short and sometimes witty, but always in very memorable sort of way. And third, profound words are usually weighty words. They're words that are heavy with meaning. They are substantive in nature. Fourth, profound words almost always have the big picture of life, life's meta-narrative in view. The big picture, whose subjects include things like God and creation and existence and even how we know things. Fifth, profound words are a matter of timing. They are delivered at just the right moment, in just the right way, for maximum effect on their hearers. Our text for today fits all of those criteria. They are very profound words. They're profound words that give this great book, I think, the fitting end that it deserves. Most of the Bible unfolds the panorama of God's design and will in small and bite-sized bits and pieces, little stories and snapshots sometimes of history within a period of history. And rarely do we get the Bible's entirety, all a 5-course meal kind of stuffed in just a couple of verses like we do today. The final verses of Ecclesiastes, these are profound words. They're the kinds of parting words that you would like to utter to your children or to your grandchildren if you only had a few remaining breaths on this earth. They're the words that I think they probably do, and they should, decoratively adorn the walls of our house. They're the kinds of words that should be everywhere in our culture. They should be on t-shirts, on bumper stickers, on computer screen savers, maybe even tattoos if you're so inclined. They should be presented. And they should be presented thematically in works of literature, poetically in music lyrics, these words should be found. They should be words that are firmly etched in our memories, and we should firmly etch them into the memories of our children. Why? Because these profound words, in these words we discover what it actually means to be a human being. The reason for, and the reason behind our existence is bound up in these words. In these words, we come to grips with the answer to that great question that we began way back in chapter 1 asking. What is the meaning of life? What is this all about? What is our purpose for being here? Ravi Zacharias has been one of, in my lifetime, and I've seen religious leaders become great disappointments in the history of the church. You have known of many as well. But Ravi Zacharias is one of my greatest, because I read behind him and I listened to him. But I remember once having a conversation with Skip, who was recounting having heard him speak. I don't know if you remember this conversation, Skip, but I was thinking about it this week. And he had been asked the question in that setting, what is the meaning of life? More specifically, from whence is the meaning of life derived? From where does it come? And Skip said that Zacharias responded by talking about two concepts, two bookend truths, as he called them: transcendence and destiny. Transcendence and destiny. Now that first bookend, transcendence, it's the idea that God, who is above the sun and above all, the source of all being, that God designed this life. And not only did he design it and create it all, but he also revealed how we are to live it according to his will. How all of this is to be lived. The other book in destiny refers to our accountability to that transcendent creator. The time when each human being will be called into question as to whether we lived this life according to the transcendent God's demands. Now, what happens between transcendence and destiny, that's how we live this life. That's how all of this unfolds. It's how we live each and every day. And we are to live it between these bookends in view of what God has commanded and in view of the destiny that is before us that will be our final judgment. That's the big picture. That's the meta-narrative. And so meaning is assigned to us by our transcendent God. We are not trying to find meaning in ourselves apart from him. Life's meaning is difficult. That's what the teacher has been teaching us. To try to get at it is not easy. The meaning in this journey of life, we wrestle with it. We wrestle with these difficult questions in what the teacher, what Koheleth has called in chapter 1, way back in chapter 1 in verse 15, he called it this twisted, lacking world. And we're living in it. And we're trying to figure it out. And life's meaning often seems like trying to see what's real through an opaque piece of glass. And that's because life is full of incongruities. It's full of adversity. It's full of conflict. It's full of injustice. All the stuff that Koheleth has been wrestling with in this book. That's what makes life hard to get at and hard to see. Its meaning hard to see. It's what makes the glass opaque to us. Now, the way that we ferret all of this out in life, that will determine our destiny. It's only in our accountability that we will finally see life's meaning clearly. You've heard it said that hindsight is 20/20. Well, when we're in heaven, we're going to see clearly. We're not going to be seeing through that opaque piece of glass. We're going to see all things clearly. And when we do, when we reach that point, that is our destiny, we will finally see. And we will finally be able to answer with clarity the question, what is the meaning of life? But asking the questions helps us get at the difficulty of understanding what it's all about when we get to that place when all is finally said and done. But we're not there yet. And so when all is finally said and done, and that's when we'll know, we'll really know what we want to know now, clearly, fully, what is the meaning of this life? What is this existence all about? Is it just an accidental pleasure cruise wherein the best I can do is seek my own personal happiness? Koheleth went down that path. That wasn't the answer. Is this a grand cosmic joke? One big ball of nothing going nowhere and therefore not even really worth the trouble? Is it the nihilist option? No. Or is it something more purposeful? There's something more purposeful involved in this life, designed by a creator for a noble purpose. When all is said and done, when all is said and done, so what? So what? Is there meaning to this life? When all is said and done, is there a purpose to all of this? And after a lifelong, frustrating, experimental search, the teacher finally answers here in these closing words, and the answer is yes. Yes. There is meaning. And we can get some sense of it here in this life under the sun. Here is what the teacher concludes about life's meaning. This morning I ask you, listen. Listen to the old sage. My grand summation, my conclusion about life under the sun. Yes, meaningless. Meaningless. Everything is meaningless. This I have concluded after a lifetime of experimentation, a life pilgrimage life under the sun. Life in this twisted and lacking world, yes, it is frustratingly enigmatic. My search for life's meaning has taken me down many, many dead ends. My journey has largely been one of sorrow and one of suffering
and one of sadness because of the intolerable cruelty of humanity that we see in this world. We see selfishness. We see bigotry. We see greed. We see injustice. We see oppression. We see loneliness. We see war. This is the moral climate of the world in which we live. We live it every day. We breathe it as we breathe the air around us. Sin is our natural habitat, for we are all sinners. For a while, I toyed with the idea that the pursuit of personal happiness was the best that a person could do in this life. But that was selfish. It was selfish, and it turned out, as I tried it, it turned out to be a hollow existence. And so I have been both the laughing libertarian as well as the cheerless cynic, both the optimistic opportunist as well as the sorrowful skeptic. I have been the reluctant nihilist. Life under the sun, it's meaningless. It's an exasperating puzzle that only obscures meaning and frustrates our sense of purpose, our fulfillment. Now all has been heard, and here is the conclusion of the matter. My final thought is that meaning is not inherent in this life. It's not to be found here under the sun. The search for meaning must begin somewhere else. It must begin outside of this life. It must begin above the sun. It must begin with our Creator, with God. Beginning with God, let me tell you what I have discovered about life's meaning. Here is the conclusion of the matter. First of all, life's meaning is displayed in God's design. It's displayed in God's design. We've talked about remembering. We've talked about constantly remembering, continually bearing in mind our Creator. And that is where the search for meaning must begin. The search for meaning begins with a commitment on our part to fear that Creator, to fear God. Wisdom cannot be extracted from life under the sun. That I have discovered. I have searched. I have looked down many paths, all of which have been dead ends. Wisdom must begin with acknowledgement of the Creator of the sun, the Creator of all that is, the grand designer of the grand design. Truly, as was written ages ago, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God. That must be our most basic life assumption. In the beginning, God. It follows most logically that if we have a Creator, then we are responsible to that Creator. Thus, life is actually infused with meaning by the designer to whom we owe our very existence, and who not only designed everything, but also revealed himself and his will to us. In other words, he has told us what he wants us to do. He has told us how we are to live. And we are without excuse. Which brings me to my second discovery here in these final words about life's meaning. And that is that life's meaning is decided by God's decree. It's decided by what God has decreed. Contrary to common thought, the commandments of God are that which make this life under the sun livable. Apart from any sense of right and wrong being imposed upon us from outside of the world by God, apart from that, who would want to live in this life? Who would want to live in this world? Meaning in life can only be known in God's law, according to God's decreed demands, which in summary begins with a fear of God and extends to respect and honor of others whom he has created. Love of God and love of one's neighbor. That is the law of God. Apart from that, apart from God handing down to us his will for us, we are doomed to live in a world of self-serving ethics. A survival of the fittest. Morality that assumes that good is that which is good for me. That actually reduces humanity to that survival ethic of the animal kingdom. One in which the fittest survive, the strong survive and thrive at the expense of the weak upon whom the strong prey. Human law, not based upon God's law, is a reflection of that. Human law that is not based upon God's law is autocratic. It's abominable. It's abhorrent. The creation of tyrannical despots and wicked regimes, that's the result. Societies that depart from God's law, they are wicked, they are violent, they are unjust, they are oppressive. Individuals that disregard God's law, they are wicked, they are despicable, they are the criminal of history. As God's people, we can know life's meaning only to the extent that we obey God's commandments and fulfill his will. My third discovery about life's meaning is that life's meaning is delegated as our duty. It is delegated to us as a duty to live out. Our reason to be, our raison d'etre, our reason to be is to fear God and keep his commandments. Fear God and keep his commands. That is the bottom line of life. That is the whole duty of human beings. That is what God has delegated to us. A better way to say that is to say that fearing and obeying God is what it actually means to be human. To be human in such a way that we can know meaning, that we can know fulfillment in this life. In short, we are here to worship and obey God. The first human beings were created to do just that, to worship and obey God. To fear God, that is to live with a constant and proper subservience to him. To fear God, that is to honor God with a trembling and reverential awe of who he is. And it is from that fear-filled knowledge of God that follows the natural duty of obedience. That is our delegated duty, folks. And the extent to which we fulfill that, the extent to which we fulfill our delegated duty to fear God and keep his commandments, to the extent that we do that, we can know meaning in life. My fourth discovery about life's meaning is that it is discovered in our deeds. It is discovered in the things that we do. Fearing God and obeying his commandments, it's evident in the things that we do. It's evident in our deeds. Deeds that make it obvious that we love God. Deeds that make it obvious that we love our neighbor as ourselves. In a world of selfishness, a world of injustice, a world of oppression, a God-fearer's deeds shine as light in darkness. A God-fearer's deeds is indicative of one that perseveres, one that endures, one that even manages to enjoy this twisted life under the sun with a joy that reveals an awareness that there is an eternity above the sun that is the only possible venue for full enjoyment and true bliss. Now, as I have explained, for the majority of my writing, life is full of incongruities. It's full of difficulties. It's full of adversities. It's full of conflicts. We can seek to figure it out over a lifetime and only come away knowing very little. Our greatest moments of clarity, our greatest moments of understanding, our greatest moments of elucidation are only clouded by the assurance that even in those great moments for us, we do not fully understand. Truly, now we see all things dimly, as through an opaque glass. And it is only when we reach our final destiny that we will finally see clearly. And I have sought in this writing to force you, my students, to face the darkest, most frustrating facts about life under the sun. But my hope was never to discourage you. My hope was never to force you into nihilism, the conclusion that everything under the sun is so insignificant and meaningless and hopeless that self-destruction is the only option. No, that was not my intent. My intention has been to force you to recognize that the routine, the ordinary, the modus operandi of this mundane existence, it must be transcended in order to truly find meaning. And the way to do that, the way to transcend this selfish, oppressive, unjust, troubled existence, it begins with fear and obedience of God. And that is carried out in daily, even small acts of kindness to the poor. Carried out in sweet words of encouragement to the downtrodden. The fight for justice for the oppressed. Honoring the dignity of the marginalized. Sharing the freeing truth of God's love and the gospel to those who are bound by the chains of sin. In short, being a fountainhead of righteous deeds in this world of unrighteousness, shining as light. Oh, my students, if you will give your life to this, if you will give your life to this righteous close as you can to understanding life's meaning. Fear God, keep his commands, as done in righteous deeds. I have a fifth and final discovery in closing about life's meaning. And it is that life's meaning is determined in our destiny. We've talked a little bit about destiny a few moments ago. God will bring every deed into judgment. God will bring every deed, every word, every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it's good or evil. The destiny of all humanity is to have the justice of God brought to bear on it. It is appointed unto all once to die, and after that, the judgment. The destiny of every human being is to have the justice of God brought to bear. That's our destiny. And I suspect that Judgment Day will be a day of many surprises. Many surprises. Evil deeds, even those done in secret, will be exposed for the evil that they are. Evil motives of the heart will be revealed in the bright light of God's glory in our judgment. Evil words spoken to harm and destroy another person, even those spoken behind the backs of others, are spoken to the face of God, and they will be revealed, exposed, and punished. Good motives, on the other hand, good motives of the heart, good words that are spoken to heal and to redeem, these too have not gone unnoticed by our judge. And our destiny will reveal all of those as well. And then all will be fully known. All will be fully known. Then all will be seen clearly. Then, and finally, when all is said and done. Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God. Fear God and keep his commandments. Life's meaning is displayed in God's design. Life's meaning is decided by God's decrees. Life's meaning is delegated as our duty. Life's meaning is discovered in our deeds. And life's meaning is determined in our destiny. When all is said and done, fear God. Fear God and keep his commandments. For this is what it means to be human. This is the whole beauty of humanity. When all is said and done.
What will be remembered where I come when all is said and done? Will they say I love my family, that I was a faithful friend, that I lived to tell God's dear Son when all is said and done? Oh, how I long to see the hour I would hear that trumpet sound and rise to see my Savior's face, see him smile and say, well done. You can forget my name and the songs I've sung, every rhyme and every tune, but remember the truth of Jesus' love when all is said and done. Oh, when all is said and done. For those of you who joined us by live stream this morning, I want to say a very special thank you. I hope you've been able to make this trek, this journey with us, along with the teacher, through the book of Ecclesiastes. It's been a real blessing to me, and I hope it has been as well to you. And if you have any questions, or you would like to interact with me, or maybe share a prayer request or a need in your life, I'd love to have the opportunity to communicate with you. There on the screen in front of you, you can find some contact information. Our church website is there, as well as my email, pastorlayne@fellowship-warsaw.org. And I'd love to have the opportunity to talk with you, perhaps to pray with you, to counsel with you, if you'll make that contact. Again, God bless you. Have a great week.